There exists a version of you who never sleeps, never wastes a moment, always eats right, trains with unwavering dedication, and consistently gets to work. This version does exactly what needs to be done, exactly when it needs to be done. Imagine the perfection of his life. One thing stands in your way. Let me tell you what it is.
There is a version of you out there in one of the million universes that exist who is far more superior to you in every single realm. He has never missed a single day of training. Those days you stayed home, he was at the gym. He has never missed a single day of work where you decided to be lazy and meet a girl or go outside to do some random bullshit. There has never been a single day where he needed to do something and he skipped out on it. He has never relapsed on whatever addiction it is. He has never used a vice. Every single day, he did exactly what he needed to do. Imagine him. Imagine how he would look like. Imagine how he would act like. Because you know what you should do, but you don't do it. There's something that stops you every single time. At this current moment, there is something else that you know you should be doing other than watching this video. Whether it be creating your own videos or being at the gym or doing your homework or doing whatever it is you need to do. There is something that you need to do, but instead you're watching this video. There's that version of you who is doing that thing right now in that other alternate universe. Imagine how he acts, imagine how he looks like, imagine how women treat him, imagine the car he'd drive, imagine the money he'd have, imagine the way he'd speak to people, imagine his charisma, imagine the clothes he'd be wearing, imagine his existence. And I need you to understand that there's absolutely nothing stopping you except two things: lack of knowledge, which you do not have, and your astronomical laziness into achieving what he is going to achieve, this alternate version of you. Think of him. He is doing every single thing. It's that version of you. It's you. It's not a different person. It's you. That version of you in that different universe could be the guy who cured or created some insane product that revolutionized the world. He could be the president for all I care. He could be the greatest version ever. Think of him. There's a million yous in different universes. Whatever your religious beliefs are, just visualize it for the sake of this video. That version of you is superior to you in every single realm, and there is absolutely nothing stopping the version of you watching this video from being him except your astronomical laziness and lack of knowledge. But there are people out there living in this universe who are at their maximal potential, who are that version of them, who are him. How do they do it? Imagine if at every single moment there was something speaking to you, almost a different being, almost that person. Imagine if that person, that version of you who has every single thing, managed to connect you in some way or another. Imagine me, for example, if there was a version of me who was far superior to me in every single realm. He's the same age. Imagine if he could speak to me whenever I was about to fuck up or relapse or not make a video or not work on the business or instead do some bullshit. Imagine if he was able to speak to me, and imagine if he was able to speak to you, that version of you. That version of you who has everything you need, who has everything you want, who is the prime, most, like the greatest version of you. That version of you that if he was present on this earth would absolutely dominate every single circle possible. The circle of friends you have, dominate men, women, dominate the workplace, dominate finances, dominate YouTube, dominate everything. Imagine if he could speak to you. Where do you think you would be? How would your physique look like? Imagine if he was able to speak to you like he was a twin, a clone, someone inside your ear, almost schizophrenic, able to contact you whenever you were able to fuck up. Imagine where you would be. Every single day you would wake up at that specific time you need to. Every single day you would work out at that time you need to. Every single day you'd work on the business. Every single day you'd work on the goal that you need to. Imagine if he was in your ear. All of those goals would be hit, checked off, checked off, checked off. Because he'd have been telling you to lift since you were 10 years old. He'd have been telling you to start that business since you were 12, and it would have already been flourishing by the time you're at your age right now. He'd have whispered those things into your ears long before you even knew existed, because he had the knowledge and he had the ideas. Imagine how powerful it would be if we had the sixth sense sixth sense. If we almost had this superior being, if we had that version of us whispering in our ear, if we had this clairvoyant eye, I would call it, our life would be completely different than it is today. Let me give you an example. An example that many of you understand and know how relatable it is. Let's say you're about to relapse and watch some shitty porn and just fap, right? And you're trying to stop that garbage addiction, but you can't. You're in that loophole. When you get hooked on and you're scrolling and you find like a piece of ass or an Instagram or something, or you find like a model, what happens to your mind is that it gets corrupted. It gets corrupted and imagine this as like some black goo that starts corrupting your mind and starts spreading. What you are is in a state of lowered frequency, in a state of almost like goblin amygdala lizard brain. The amygdala is the scientific name for the lizard brain that people call it. You're simply thinking with the amygdala, the primal caveman brain that just sees, okay, ass, let me ejaculate. That sees shit, food, ice cream, activate dopamine receptors. I like it. I want. You're in this state of lowered frequency. You're in this dumbed down state. Work? No, I don't want to work. I want to sleep. Now you're gonna up and you're not gonna do the work, or you're gonna fap. And we know this with fapping, right? What happens when you finish? What happens when we finish? We get something called post-nut clarity. Post-nut clarity is simply you escaping this lowered state of frequency. It's this black goo escaping your mind. It's this corruption being cleared out of your mind and you not being corrupted anymore. It's you returning to a higher frequency. It's your brain just being cleared out of all this. Imagine if at every single moment you were able to operate out of this brain. You know who operates out of that brain? That version of you. And that version of you is the most superior being that ever exists in your mind. He is the one you should be listening to because he has everything you have ever achieved. Now, how can we connect with this superior being? How can we connect with that version of you? That version of you who's always in that state of post-nut clarity, who's always in that state of pure clarity with no goo entering his mind. You understand, you deep how powerful it is? Imagine if every single waking second of the day you were operating with the pure clarity, with pure intention, with pure mindfulness, with pure superiority and utmost confidence in the decisions you were taking, knowing that they would lead to the best possible life, to the greatest potential. Imagine if every single waking hour of the day you operated out of this higher frequency, this higher mindset. You would become that version of you in no time. So you understand how it feels to be this lowered state, lowered frequency, goblin-minded version of you. It's you being corrupted by this black goo. How do we connect with him? I need you to understand that that version of you, is so powerful. He is so powerful because he knows and he thinks without any form of black goo. If you were him, you would have every single thing you wanted. What is stopping the average person from making millions? It's not lack of knowledge, because it's so easy. Like every single business model you can make millions in if you put in the work. Every single thing we have the knowledge for. What is stopping us today? It is the astronomical laziness that enters our mind. It's this black goo. We have the knowledge, but there's only the friction. Now that version of you has no friction because he doesn't allow the black goo to enter his mind. So this is how you connect with him. Whenever you relapse, whenever you fuck up, whenever you don't do the work, whenever you don't do the garbage, or when you do the garbage and you relapse and realize, oh fuck, what are you gonna do? You're gonna open a voice memo. I'm gonna give you an example. Let's say you fapped, right? And you relapsed. You were in that like really horny state of mind before you fapped, and now you're done. You have the post-nut clarity, and for a second, for a tiny fraction of a moment of your life, you are thinking with the brain that version of you has. That higher version of you. You are thinking with his brain. You are thinking with his clarity. So you're going to capitalize on that moment. And what are you going to do? You're going to open your voice memos on your iPhone, whatever it is. Find a way to store voice messages on your phone and title them. For iPhone, there's an app called Voice Memos. You literally just open it and speak. And what are you going to say? You're going to say exactly what your state of mind is and how you feel about that decision you took. You're going to speak from an almost third-person perspective. For example, let's say I fapped and I messed up, right? Or I ate shit. Okay, but for the sake of simplicity, let's just say the fab. You're gonna talk to yourself as if you're in third person. Whatever your name is. For me, it's Ali, obviously. You're gonna say shit like, Ali, you've relapsed X amount of times in this amount of time. You lead a movement and you're doing whatever it is. You need to make it, the point of this is you need to make it extremely personal towards you. Dig into the depths of your mind. Remember, that version of you is still just you. He knows everything about you, but he's sending a message to you. Make it as personal as possible. And tell him, you're in the state of that version of you. Tell the lowered frequency version of you that what the fuck you're about to do in the future, because you'll be listening to this in the future when you're about to fuck up. Convince him. Convince him somehow. You know how to convince yourself. I don't know exactly your deepest, darkest secrets, but that's why this needs to be as personal as fuck. If it's diet, Ali, you've been saying you've been wanting to get onto this carnivore diet for I don't know how long, and you keep relapsing, you keep fucking up. You know how good it's gonna be for your business, yet you keep fucking up. You have nothing stopping you from being on this perfect diet except yourself and your fickle dopamine fiending tongue. You speak to yourself with aggression but with truth, not just garbage. You don't just speak garbage, you try and reason with him because you're operating out of this higher state, this higher frequency mind. And every time you are about to fuck up in the future, you're going to listen to those voice notes, you're going to listen to those memos. Title them. Have one for breaking your addiction. Like, let's say you're addicted to smoking, right? And then you're about to smoke, and then you realize, oh shit, there's that version of me who's trying to send me a message. He floats around. Like, almost think of it as this sixth sense, this third eye, this clairvoyant eye, floating around you, telling you what to do. And you have that at the few clicks of a buttons. When you click that button and you hear that version of you speaking to you, telling you the exact steps you need to achieve what you want to achieve, you're not gonna fuck up. You're not gonna fuck up. You're literally talking to yourself from a higher frequency. It's so easy to understand this with the nofap thing because it's so obvious. When you're done and you have the post-nut clarity, you have that higher frequency. You have that version of you. You've removed that black goo. You've removed that corruption. And then, and only then, can you send a message to yourself in the future where there is the black goo. Now imagine if you had this clairvoyant eye and the black goo. Who's gonna win? This guy. This guy's gonna fucking win because it's going to be, the message you're going to send to yourself is so personal. It's so personal. Make it so personal that any form of trigger will simply be too weak to lose to this or to win against that version of you. Because remember, that version of you is you. He exists out there. You're not him. I'm not him. But we can get a step closer every single day by taking the right decisions, by taking the decisions he'd make. So the next time you fuck up on not working on the business and you realize, oh shit, I shouldn't have done that because now I'm facing the consequences. Whenever you are facing the consequences, that is usually you realizing, oh fuck, I shouldn't have done that. And when you realize that, you're in a higher state of mind. So send that message to yourself. Open your notes, open your voice messages, open not your voice memos, and speak your mind the way I'm speaking to you. Speak your mind to your future self. Literally tell him, please, we are suffering right now because of your stupid and retarded decision making. This is why we are suffering now, because of your decision making. The right thing to do in this case is X, and you speak to him as to why you should do X. Have the why. Why are you doing X? Maybe because it's something that traumatized you in your past and you wanna prove to the world something. Whatever it is, like I said, you need to make it extremely personal. Open the voice notes and listen to them whenever you feel like you're gonna fuck up. The only thing that will stop you, this is the only weakness to this technique, which I've found extremely powerful. I call it the clairvoyant eye. Because if you have this eye that is almost like telling you, I just purely call it clairvoyance, because if you have this clarity, clairvoyance just means clarity into knowing the future, basically. And if you know what you should be doing in the moment, it's just pure clairvoyance. If you have this, you have all decisions made for you. You know exactly what you need to do, but the hard part is actually opening that app, because you know, and the black goo in your mind, when you start feeling those feelings of, I don't want to do it even though I know I should, or I should do it even though I know I shouldn't, whatever it is, right? The black goo will try to battle your mind and it will tell you, do not open that app. Do not open your notes. Do not look at that version of you. Do not listen to that version of you. You know, there was a recent case where I was out, right? And I was out with two girls and we were getting ice cream or something. And then I started getting the message. I was like, I don't want to do this. Like, I don't want to fuck up my diet. I've been eating too well. And I knew if I opened the notes, I'd just be fighting. And I wouldn't get the ice cream. And it's so stupid, right? It's just such a small thing. But I decided to not open the notes. And that's why I lost. That's why I lost. That is the weakness. The weakness is you not opening the notes. This is the weakness of this solution. It's not a solution. It's a method, the clairvoyant method. I literally invented this. Nobody has ever spoken about this. The weakness is you will be sometimes too scared to open it. You'll be too scared to open it because it's so fucking powerful. It's so powerful because it will put you, it will make you completely accountable because you know that your future and your past is talking to you and telling you don't do it, don't fap, don't have that ice cream, and you don't want to face it. And sometimes, like that time where I fucked up, you're gonna fuck up. You're gonna fuck up. This won't be perfect. But every time you open that note and every time you listen to it, you're gonna win. Because it's that version of you speaking to you. I need you to understand the importance and the strength, the magnificence, the magnitude of the word, that version of you, of the words. That version of you is the best version of you that could possibly exist. Your genetic potential, your financial potential, your existential potential is maxed out when that version of you speaks to you. And that's something very scary to think about. It really is. It truly, truly is. Because you know when you open that notes app, you're going to have to listen. Because obviously you want the best potential, right? But sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to open the notes and listen to what you've said to yourself in the past. And listen to it. Because you really, really are battling. You're battling with that black goo. And it really gets hard. This is the only weakness. But if you can train yourself like a skill to continuously open that notes app, to continuously listen to yourself in the past, you will be inching closer and closer and closer to that version of you. Now, for those of you who trust me, they already know what Project 10K is. It's my program that gets you from 0 to 10K a month in 6 months using the exact principles that I have used on my channel. You grow an audience, tens of thousands of people watching you, and you build a personal brand and you sell a product. Those of you who want to build the empire I've already built, those of you who want to have the job I do, those of you who want to have the freedom I do, who have the same position I do, there's that version of you who started Project 10K 6 months ago, and they have every single thing they've ever wanted. Wish not for a lighter load, but for a stronger back.
The truth is that one thing stopping you is you. Your astronomical laziness. Use your inner vision, your clairvoyance to see the path forward. Now you know exactly what to do. But will you? Or will your mind remain poisoned, just like how your food is?